This episode is going to be sweet, pun intended. Today we talk about how Little Bit Bakery came to be. Background noise, the Henson Family Podcast starts now. All right. Welcome everybody back to the podcast. Happy that you're with us. Today we are going to be talking about Little Bit Bakery and how it came to be. And let me just start with who I have in the room with me. We have Mama Amy.
Right here. Hello, everyone.
Yes. And we have the owner and chief baker of Little Bit Bakery, Angela Kate.
And our daughter, of course. Yes. Our youngest
my daughter. Her other title, yes. So, ladies, how have we been since our last episode? Okay, what was our last episode? Oh, that was the big surprise, wasn't it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. With Anna.
Yep. So how's everything been?
I think it's been a good week for me. My sister came in town. She was been here for about a week, so that's Auntie. A lot of you have met her before, but it was a great week. So
yeah, it's always good to have Auntie. We were going to have her try to be on and record, be on this show or this episode and participate, but life gets in the way and things just happen, and it is what it is. So
that's right.
All right, well, let's just jump into this episode. So, Angela Kate, this is going to be kind of a unusual situation for you. You're going to be doing a lot of talking in this episode.
I know, I'm not used to that.
You're not used to that, so just make sure you're close to that mic and don't trail off.
What do you mean I never trail off?
So everybody, that's something Angela has done since she was a little kid. The end of her sentences, they diminish. They diminish. So
yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Dissolve and evaporate. So, all right. So we've got kind of an idea of where we're going on this and some questions. So your interest in baking, where did that come from and how'd you get started in doing all that?
Well, I know, I guess as a kid, I did like baking. And I remember coming over here to Granny's, and I remember I still like getting the piping bags and the piping tips, and I remember doing cupcakes a lot, and I always trying to make them pretty.
You did.
Yeah.
You wanted the tips, the bags.
Yeah.
You wanted to go and make them beautiful.
Glam.
Yeah.
So I think I always enjoyed that. I just never thought of it as an actual business route, I guess.
Or maybe you thought that was just for people on YouTube.
Yeah, or Cupcake
right, that
Wars.
have their channels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did like Cupcake Wars. I remember I always liked watching that and the baking shows. But it wasn't really till quarantine, because obviously we were all stuck inside. And I don't really know what got me. Actually, no. Mom, you were watching a mafia documentary.
I remember. Yes.
Mafia?
Yeah, it was about the mafia.
It was really long. And
I just remember that vividly because I was watching behind the counter.
yeah, you were in the kitchen.
I was in the kitchen.
Trying to kill time, right?
Yeah. And I remember I made chocolate cupcakes. And it was some type of frosting and then a shortbread crumble on them. So I was going pretty snazzy because I think we had some piping bags in the our birthday candle bag, and there was old piping bags or whatever. And so I remember doing that and decorating them. I think I still have a picture. I was like, wow, this is really fun. And so I remember taking trying to make them look all fancy and stuff like that. And I think it was that same night I went on Amazon and I just looked up baking sets.
The Amazon.
Okay, so let's give some perspective here. Mm-hmm. How old were you about that?
Oh, yeah, so I was a freshman, so I was
2020.
So you were what, 15?
15.
About 15.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And club season had pretty much
come to a halt.
Been canceled because of COVID.
Yeah, volleyball season was canceled.
So you had lots of extra time on your hands.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I remember that same night, I went on Amazon, and I remember me, Audrey, and Anna, we were gonna all sleep out in that front room, and we were gonna watch a movie. I didn't pay attention to the movie at all. I was just on Amazon, and that was before I had any job. And so I remember one being $35. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so expensive. Like, at the moment.
Well, yeah.
At the moment.
Since I know what's coming, it's kind of funny to think about you worrying about $35 compared to what you're planning to purchase. But we'll get to that here in a little bit.
But it was a nice little starter kit, though.
It was.
Just to,
yeah, it had all the
you know,
basics and stuff.
to experiment with at that time,
Yeah.
right? That's
That's
really
I
what you were
needed.
doing.
Yeah. And so I used that. And then I'm trying to think of what my first cake was that I just tried on my own. Oh,
Was it my birthday cake?
no, it was actually the chocolate cake before that. I don't know if you remember.
I think I do.
And that was pretty bad.
I think I remember it, though.
Yeah.
So
Was it because I don't remember any of this, which is shocker. Was it bad as far as taste or bad as in cosmetic or how it looked?
How it looked and like the construction. Because I remember at the time I was using cake mixes because I hadn't really experienced or like experimented.
found your own recipes yet.
Right. So I got a
done that.
box mix and then I did make my own frosting. Oh my gosh. Like lopsided. The frosting was being dried out. And I think the reason I did do that cake was because your birthday was coming up. And so I wanted to practice.
You did, yes.
And so I remember just getting rage. Like, I'm like, why is this not working?
But, that's to be expected, right? I
Right.
mean, so it is trial and error what you're doing here, right?
Yes. I do like to look
baking,
back at that
so-
picture and just kind of laugh at it. But
Do you still have the pictures?
yeah, I do.
Okay, maybe we can post these on our show's Facebook page.
Yeah. It's,
Search it up, follow, like, subscribe.
Yeah, but I remember after that, Mom, your birthday was soon. And I remember going to bed the night before. I had researched, okay, I'm going to do this recipe. And I was giddy. Like I was going to wake up early. I set an alarm. I'm like, today's my baking day for Mom's cake. And I was excited. And then it did not start well. I don't know if you remember, Mom, what happened.
I remember I don't remember specifically right now, but I remember it did not go according to your plan.
No.
Was this before or after we got the mixer?
I had already had the mixer.
You already had the mixer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Baby Blue or Big Blue or whatever.
Yeah.
Well,
I remember because I wanted to do my own, a from scratch cake and not a cake mix. And I had never made a cake from scratch before. And so I put them in the oven. That was fine. And I just had never.
Okay, little editing note. We had to. Rosie came in and surprised us all, so we had to.
Yeah, she was jingling. We had to do something about that.
Take care of her. So sorry for the interruption, I guess. So Angela, I think we were talking about Mom's cake.
Yeah. And so I had never had that experience before. And so I remember tapping on the cakes because they were in the oven. And I was like, oh, those are done. Oh my gosh. No, they were not. And looking back, I'm like, how did I think those were done? But I remember taking them out, letting them cool for not that long. And I flipped them over and it just kind of splattered because the inside was completely unbaked.
Oh.
And that's when I called you, Mom.
I remember, yes,
And
you
I was
did.
I think I was probably crying because I'm like, this is not how it was supposed to go. And then I think you just got box mixes for me to finish with.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's coming back.
Yeah. So after I did that, then it went really fine. And it actually I'm still really proud of that first cake I did.
You've got to have things mess up, though, right? To
Oh, yeah.
learn,
That's how you learn.
to figure it out.
Yeah. Never made that
So-
mistake again. Yeah. But I was really happy with how that one turned out. I was pleasantly surprised.
Okay.
So,
Well, did it?
that.
So tell us about when it came to the point where you sold your first cake.
First cake. I think it was Miss Suzanne.
Yeah.
Yep,
friend
our
of
friend
ours.
Suzanne.
Our friend Suzanne,
Yeah.
our volleyball.
And it was a graduation cake,
Yes.
so
Mm-hmm.
no pressure
it
there.
was a big deal, and it was a big cake. So it was a 2-tier cake.
Yeah. I think it was
Pretty big size,
10.
10 inches and 8
10
inches.
and
Yeah,
8.
it was a whopper.
Yeah. So that was my first official order, and I had no idea how to price things. That was my first tiered cake, so that's a whole nother process.
Yeah, and I think it was a naked cake, right?
was.
So you had a specific design
Yeah.
that you were asked to do,
Right.
red velvet, I
Mhm.
believe.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. It
how
did go well though. Like it I had to watch a lot of videos on like stacking. But honestly not long after that I got another order very similar from a friend of hers to do, I think, same size cake, same design cake. Um so
yeah,
it
we're
went
all
good.
we're always thankful to Suzanne, our friend,
Mhm.
for
Kind of
uh,
kickstarting the business.
yeah,
Yeah.
and just trusting Angela to do that cake. And
Mhm.
So,
so
okay, let me back up just for a second. So, the start of Mom's Cake didn't it didn't start out well, but I guess it
Mhm.
finished well, and you probably did some more practicing after that.
Yeah.
At what point, or what made you decide, hey, I think I can do a little business out of this, or a little side gig?
Well, I remember I had TikTok at the time, and there was one high school girl that I followed, and she did cakes. And I remember she would like edit videos of her decorating cakes, and she would bring cake scraps to school. And I remember I was like, that's kind of cool. Like, and everyone knew about it. Like, they just wanted her cake scraps. I'm like, that would be cool. Like, if some people wanted my cake. And so just that idea, I remember sitting late night just with Mom on the bed. I'm like, can you imagine that? Like, how cool would that be? And I think just that idea of like sharing food, because, even more so now, but I like cooking and I like, making food for people is like a love language for me. And so the idea of like, oh, I can be a part of a celebration, like, I
yeah,
could be known for that in a way.
yeah,
Yeah, making a dessert, you know.
right.
So,
It's uplifting. It's fun. It's positive.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to start a business. So tell us about the name.
Yes.
oh,
I
that's
think
right.
you were the one that brought it up, right?
I can't remember. I know we bought the URL for you for your
Wait, was it
birthday.
Kate's dad?
I can't remember.
I don't remember. But
Okay, for some reason I want to say it was me,
it feels like
but
my first instinct it was you. I know it wasn't me that came up with it. Um,
because I
but
think we bought the URL for you, littlebitbakery.com.
yeah.
It was cheap, and we thought, we'll buy it, give that to her, or present it to her, and if she ended up not wanting to
Yeah.
go that route as far as name, then we'll just let it expire, and
Yeah.
no big deal. So
Yeah. Yeah. But so it's a little bit bakery, and so whenever I was playing volleyball, because I played up, I was just small because I was younger than the girls, and so my nickname was Little Bit. Um,
Coach Tara.
Coach
Yeah.
Tara, yeah, it
Yeah.
started there.
There were
and
two
so-
Angelas on the team, so
Yeah.
she had to distinguish between the two. You were the small one, and the other
Mhm.
one was the taller one. So
That was
little
me.
bit.
And it just flows well, so I
Yeah.
like it. It's stuck around.
Yeah, you've got some new cards coming out. We'll talk about later. That's kind of got a cute little saying on there that I like.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so what would you say? So you started doing this business, and what would you say some or some of the important things that you learned as a baker, whether it be, I guess maybe technical skills or I don't know. I don't
Like little hacks, I guess.
Yeah, just that makes your job easier, or just makes the quality better, just things like that.
I would say this is something I never did before, but weighing everything that has, like, I've never not weighed my stuff as far as like flour, sugar,
Like by the gram.
by the gram.
Yeah.
Especially
okay.
like, and we'll probably talk more about this later, but macarons, just because they're so finicky, is like 5 grams can like mess it up. And so, and it's honestly just easier, like just scooping out stuff, weighing it. I'd say that. I know. Oh, so there's some people think that whenever you bake something and you put it in the freezer, it's not like fresh. That is wrong.
The quality's not there.
Yeah, the quality is not there. That's so wrong. Like a freezer is a baker's best friend. Now, I'm not saying make it months in advance, like weeks in advance, but like,
Yeah, you need it to harden a cake so you can take
Yeah.
it out and frost it, and
Yeah.
then very specific things.
right, because like a freezer really honestly maintains that freshness until you're ready to frost it.
And don't you put what is it called? Simple syrup? You use that in there?
Yeah, sometimes I use it on my vanilla cake. That's probably the only thing if like maybe it's in the oven a little bit longer than I want it to be. But I honestly don't do that like I used to because I like my vanilla cake. Which that did take me a while to nail down that vanilla cake. That was kind of a pain just because
That's a staple
you gotta
one, though.
have
You
that.
got to nail down that one.
Yeah. So I remember kind of taste testing. I remember at the very beginning, I think there was like 5 different vanilla cake recipes, and I had everyone go through and rate
Yes,
it.
we
Yeah.
rated them. I remember
Yeah.
that.
You've done that for a couple different things. Like
Yeah.
the brownies, you made several
Mm-hmm.
for the family.
Yeah.
And we'd have to choose it, and we'd have little scorecards, and we did that for the vanilla cake too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's important to say that you left the box cake or the
Yes.
cake mixes behind
Yeah.
and came up with your own.
Yeah.
You have your own recipes that you use
Yeah.
now for your different flavors.
Yeah,
and
which
stuff,
is
so.
kind of cool because, like, obviously, I start with a recipe I find online, and then I'm able to kind of alterate it to how I alterate it. Is that
Alter it.
Alter it.
alter it to how I want. So that's probably how my recipes are now, is my little version.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I'm going to add to the your question you had to her. So, or I'm going to answer. I think the ingredients is really important
Mm-hmm.
because, you know, I'm your mom. I see you in the kitchen making a lot of this stuff, and you know, when you use real butter,
Mm.
you know, real things as opposed to just shortening things like that you would, you know, find in maybe a store.
Yeah.
You know, a big store bakery. Right. I think it just makes your cakes so much better.
Yeah. And that's why, too, like, some people wonder, well, you know, a grocery cake store, I can get that for $15. Like, why is yours six? I don't know, 60.
More.
More. I'm throwing a number out there, but like, you know, the ingredients that we use are much higher quality.
Yeah.
And
real cream, real butter.
Right. And it comes out in the taste. Like, you're going to be able to
Yeah.
tell a difference.
And they do, you know, they have the huge ovens, right? They can mass produce.
Right.
You don't, right? So it's that comes into play too.
Yeah. And I'm not saying like grocery cakes, you know,
No,
they can be good.
Heck
They have their place.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm like, no shame. Go get your grocery cake. But obviously, some people,
But
they
it's
just have different priorities.
We bought
or
2 from
values.
Sam's one time.
Did we talk about that on the podcast?
Yeah,
one
there
time?
was there's a
talked about
podcast episode, the replacement cake. So,
But we won't go into that.
but y'all can go back and listen to that if you like. It's quite a funny story.
But
Pretty good plug.
but Angela, really, I know we talked a lot about, you know, pricing the cakes and how do you price it, and you know, these are going to be more expensive cakes than what people could buy maybe at Walmart or Sam's, but you know, just finding your audience and the people that like to buy these custom cakes, you know, and so really, you know, just cater to those people that want that, you know,
and that's like, that took me a while to get down.
Yeah, sure.
And I think Bake Diary, that's a software I have that really helps because I'm able to put in like the hours of labor, because I used to never even think about that being a cost whenever pricing things out. And so, and that's still something I have to update now, I think, or keep updating just because the cost of ingredients.
Yeah, inflation.
There's so many little things you don't even think about, and that I'm still honestly learning about now whenever it comes to like constructing your pricing and your menu.
Yeah, we'll get to some of the business stuff here in a second. I just got to jump in and tell you, I think when I was a teenager, I ventured into your world, and I was like, I think I was home for the summer, and I was going to make, I can't remember if it was a cake or not. I can't remember what it was. And I started constructing this thing, and you realize that salt and sugar look exactly the same.
Mom, do you know this story? Have you heard this one?
I've not.
And so I got the 2 switched.
Oh, no.
That's pretty
And
bad.
so, I made a mess in the kitchen, of course, and thing came out of the oven. I tried it, and it sucked really bad. So bad that I went out the back door, and running through our backyard, there's a sewer, a sewer opening or drain. I threw everything in the sewer.
Let me guess, it was a bit salty.
Yes, it was so bad. Anyway,
I've not heard of that before.
yeah,
Very,
that's
very nice.
Did it look the same? I don't know if you remember.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
I don't even know if the cookbook I had even had pictures.
Yeah.
But
I've not heard of that before.
okay, from a baking standpoint, what's the toughest thing to make of all the things that you make? What's the toughest?
I would say, well, I think there could be two different approaches for the question. I would say, like, for bakers or like a regular person trying to bake something, it would be macarons. Just because there's so many different, I won't go into it. There's so many processes that you can do. It's very finicky. But honestly, for me now, it's not that hard just because I'm used to it. And like I have a process. Not saying I don't mess up, like that
I
happens.
remember they were giving you fits at the beginning.
At the very beginning, it was awful. But that's probably not the most difficult for me now. I would honestly say sometimes a simple white cake.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
I was gonna say that.
Simple white cake, like
a smoothing the frosting, like making
Yeah.
the frosting really smooth.
yeah,
Yeah.
especially like because there's nothing to hide behind. You know, like if there's florals or sparkle, whatever you want, like that can kind of cover up some little,
Yeah,
little,
imperfections.
air pockets or whatever. White cake, you don't have that, and so it's almost like there's a little bit more pressure to make it perfect.
I do recall that a square cake can be kind of hard to frost
Yeah.
because of those corners.
Mm-hmm.
So
I did that once, and I have never done it again. That is not on my menu anymore at all.
Everything's round.
Everything is round or a heart. I can do heart.
Okay.
Yeah, that's been pretty popular lately.
or a
But
nice
square.
cupcake.
Wait, what?
A nice
Oh,
cupcake.
yeah, always order cupcakes. I love cupcakes.
Yeah.
Never a square.
Okay, so what item do you enjoy making the most? What I guess what brings you the most pride or most joy in when it finally
Gets done. Like
the
you
final
want to
product?
present it to someone.
Maybe macarons. I think the boxing of macarons and
whole presentation.
the presentation, because a lot of times it's a nice bright color, and they're just so cute.
And they're so cute.
They're
and it's
so
so
cute.
technical.
Yes.
Like to conquer that
right.
and give that to someone, that's got to feel good.
And I don't mean this in like a self-flattering way, but I'm very confident in the taste of my macarons.
Yeah, they are. Okay, so I know I'm your mom, but seriously, those are the best macarons I've had.
Oh, well, thank you, Mama.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So I think that, like, I like everything I offer, of course, but I think macarons just,
So
I get joy.
Well, let's go ahead and ask you that so people can know what kind of things do you bake that you would sell to people?
That's true. Yeah, we haven't even talked about the kind of things that are on the menu.
I just actually updated my menu, so I have like standard custom cakes, and within that I can do different sizes, and then custom cupcakes. I do cookies, not the custom decorated ones that.
Oh, like the sugar cookies, the custom.
Props to the people who do that because I can't. I added chocolate covered Oreos to my menu. Cinnamon rolls are now on my menu. Chocolate covered strawberries, macarons, I already said cookies.
Brownies?
Brownies.
You still do that? Yeah.
Brownies. Yeah. And then, I may expand. I'm kind of looking at some other things to maybe offer. But that's probably
That's the main stuff.
main
You've
thing.
been experimenting with a lot of goodies
Oh, yes.
around the house here lately.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just go ahead and say it. Homemade cinnamon toast crunch.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think,
Mom's a big fan of that.
yes. I think sourdough. So the cinnamon toast crunch, I've been making it sourdough. And so I've been experimenting lots with bread, sourdough, all that
Yeah.
whole shebang.
Yeah, that's kind of your latest craze right now,
Mhm.
aside from all the goodies,
Mhm.
is bread, sourdough,
Mhm.
and now, homemade crackers
Mhm.
and
You had your first sourdough order today?
I did,
Yes.
yes. Eric,
Mm-hmm.
one of my coffee shop regulars, and he actually texted me if I could do brownies while
Okay.
you were taking care of Rosie.
Okay.
So, yeah. And so sourdough is just a whole nother route. So I don't know if that'll ever be on my menu, just because that is a whole other can of beans
Yeah.
to deal
But
with.
you're learning it,
But I'm learning it,
Uh-huh.
and if it
trying to figure
if
it
it goes
out.
that route, it goes that route because I
Yeah.
enjoy it either way. I don't know, whatever tastes good, whatever people like.
Yeah.
I'll try and fit in.
So I know we've talked about some of this over the past years. What are some of the important things that you've learned in being a business owner?
Mm.
The T word.
The T word?
Yeah.
Oh, taxes.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, self-employment tax sucks. And I learned that the hard way last year.
Yeah.
It was awful. Yeah, so if you have a small business or you're going to create one, just fair warning
Yeah.
on that
I
note.
mean, really, there's the baking,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's kind of one half, and the other half is, okay, that's
Yeah.
the unfun stuff.
Yeah. And I will say a lot of thanks goes to my dad because he helped me get the software I have now. And at the very beginning, you were the one importing or inputting my expenses.
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff. It was my dad.
Well, yeah, you were a young teenager.
So, yeah.
He helped you a lot.
Yeah. So he taught me a lot, and he still helps me out now, like, so much. But
now you understand
mm-hmm.
after getting those tax bills
Yes.
or paying those tax bills,
You want to cut that down as
the
much
importance
as you can.
of logging all those business
Yes.
expenses.
So don't.
stuff.
Yeah, you can tell people, you can say, hey, this is what's coming, but it's not in front of them. It's hard for them to understand.
It hasn't been sucked out of their bank account yet.
But it's coming.
So that, yeah, I used to, and I still do out of habit sometimes now, put it off, but definitely do it as you get a receipt. Put it in, throw it
Yeah.
away. You don't have to worry about it anymore. Yeah. I would say another part is, and I'm still working on this now, but social media, that aspect
yeah.
of it. Because I still follow a lot of bakers, and like I get inspiration from other people I follow, and every single one, they always say social media like has helped them
Mm-hmm.
so much. And not just get other business, but if you get big enough, like on Instagram, you can get like collabs with a sprinkle company or a packaging company. And you can get a little side income from that, still under your baking umbrella. It's just a different, source, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Revenue stream.
Yeah. And so just utilizing that the best you can. So I'm still learning how to properly do that, but
I remember you telling me, and I was very impressed that you're like, hey, Dad, I'm running Facebook ads today, and you were showing me how that's done and how you can. Your area is mainly just Frisco, Plano, and really whoever wants to drive over here and pick up. But but yeah, you've been running Facebook ads. You can target various demographics. You learned how to do all that.
Yeah,
so
that's definitely, Facebook is definitely my number one social media as far as like trying to get customers. The other ones are more for entertainment. Not saying I can't get orders, but it's more for content as opposed to orders. So
yeah.
Okay, so aside from social media, what are some ways that you can market yourself to, the local community? What are you doing there?
I'm currently trying to get into a farmer's market. That's kind of my next main goal right now.
Have you done a market before?
I have done markets, yes. So Merry Main Street, that is the only market I've done. So here in Frisco for Christmas, it's like a one-day thing.
It's your single biggest event of the year.
Yes, and it gets a good crowd. Like there's quite a bit of people that show up, and so I've gotten people like who order that came to that event. So it's not just good, obviously, for making sales that day, but my friend Lainey, she was a master at slipping business cards into every single bag.
Yeah.
So
So
shout out to Lainey.
Mhm.
Just those little things of getting your name out there, having your information out.
yeah, so Merry Main Street is a huge Christmas festival in Frisco, and there's lots of booths set up. And how many years, Angela, have you done that?
3,
Well,
I
you've
believe.
done 3. This will
This'll-
be 4th
yeah,
coming up.
so going into
crazy.
to 4 years, and so that's kind of your big event.
Mhm.
Are there tell us about some other things you're going to do?
I'm wanting to. So I said the farmers market. There's one here in Frisco. I'm looking at. This is something I'm still researching, but just partnering up with smaller businesses. I can't do wholesale. That's not
Yeah,
allowed. But
I think it's important. I don't think we've said at any point that you don't actually have a storefront. You're operating under the Texas Cottage Food Law,
yeah.
and so you're running this out of our house.
Yeah,
Right.
so she's
So-
considered a home baker,
Mhm.
and so she has a different law that she falls under.
Mhm.
Which you've learned a lot there too, as far as
Mhm.
legalities,
Yes.
what you can and can't do,
Yes.
things.
So I know I can't do wholesale, but I can still partner up with businesses like set up outside of a store or, with their permission. I've been looking at that. And just little other events, cities will have. They have like fall events, and it's just a lot of research on vendor opportunities. So that's something I'm trying to do more because in the past I've only done Merry Main Street, but now I definitely want to expand that.
Okay, we've got to tell the Merry Main Street story.
Oh my
The
gosh.
very first Merry Main Street, of course,
Yeah.
had no idea what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we had the vendor meetings and stuff leading up to that to get your credentials and all that stuff, and they tell us when we can load in, load out, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But we had no baseline or reference as to how much product
Right.
that you needed. So you created a bunch,
A lot.
a lot,
A lot. And I remember the drive over there.
2 cars.
2 cars. And Dad, I was in the car with you, and I was hugging like cookie boxes, whatever. I forgot what exactly was in it, but I was hugging these boxes, and oh my word. And I remember the amount that I had left over as well. But just that whole day was
Yeah.
insane. It definitely had I was excited that morning,
Hmm.
and then it had a rough start
Yes, it did.
once we got there. So, how do you explain like the
Okay,
codes and
so
all that?
we do. Your particular booth is set up on Coleman Street in Frisco. There's a grass median in the middle, and then 2 roads. The same road running down either side. It's one way on each side, and the tents back up to that median. So you're right there in the road, but then at the back of your tent is where the grass starts.
Right.
And they have the
clear.
streets blocked off.
Yeah,
so-
all the streets are blocked off, so there's not going to be any vehicular traffic or anything like it. It's all foot traffic. So, but it rained quite a bit.
I think that morning.
the night
some.
before,
Oh,
and
okay.
that morning, especially that morning.
Yeah.
And so we pull up, both vehicles just full of stuff, and they have a table. They have like a 6-foot
Mm-hmm.
table, and we actually brought one too.
Yeah.
But we moved the table back into the grass, and because we were going to set all the product on that, because we had to set up the stuff inside the tent before we could put the product on it.
Yeah.
And so we start unloading, stack all that stuff on that table, and then just in front of that table was a bookshelf, a
Mhm.
bookshelf that we brought over to store
2 big ones.
2 big ones to put product on. And so we got all that unloaded, and then Mom and I leave to take the cars to park in the parking garage.
So it was just me.
It was just you at the tent.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember getting a call, you calling,
Mm-hmm.
and you are crying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm like, what happened? We just left.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Just
literally
left.
just left,
Yeah.
and you are crying.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what in the world's wrong? And so what had happened was the weight of all the product on that table caused the front legs
Mm-hmm.
to start sinking into the ground, which caused the table to get unbalanced and tip over.
Yeah.
And all the
All the-
product
Slid.
slid off of that
Off.
and hit the bookcases, and then which fell over into you. It was like a
Yes.
big domino effect,
Yes.
literally.
like
Domino effect.
crashed. Yes.
So you had tons of product hit the ground, and some of this stuff was very delicate, like the hot cocoa bombs,
Yeah.
bombs,
Cupcakes.
not that they would, the cupcakes wouldn't break, but they were packaged very
Right.
nicely,
Yeah, you don't want them messed up.
and
Yeah.
they look, you didn't want them to look like a mess.
Mm-hmm.
And so I get that call. We park, and I tell Mom, and so we rush back over there, and I can't remember if somebody had helped you.
Yeah. So the street's set up, and there's like tents right next. Like I'm in
Yeah.
the middle, and they're right next to you. So obviously they saw like what had just
Yeah.
occurred, and so they were very nice, and
Yeah.
they did get some free cake,
Yeah.
cups and cakes, whatever.
Well deserved.
Yeah, very much. At the at the end of it, but
But fortunately,
On-
we're very lucky. I mean,
yeah, and honestly, God was watching after those hot cocoa bombs because
Yeah.
I think there was only
Yeah, it wasn't bad at all.
it was on maybe 5,
Mhm.
and like it was fine because I didn't sell out.
maybe those were duds.
Yeah, maybe I wouldn't be surprised. God is good, but
You get what I'm saying?
duds.
Yeah.
Wait, duds. Like
When a bomb doesn't go off, it's called a dud.
oh no, I didn't get that.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, but no, I remember sitting because I was sitting just waiting for y'all to come back, and
Yeah.
so I was just kind of on my phone and I was excited, and then wha-bang,
Yeah, it's just
and I
your
like I
back's
kind of
to
like
it, and it
yelped.
just crashes on
It
you.
hurt too.
Yeah.
I will say you looked very sad
Yeah.
when we got to the tent.
Yes.
You looked defeated and sad, and
Yeah.
your
Yes.
eyes were red. You're crying,
Yes.
but you got through it.
It ended. It was honestly one of my like.
You have
Highlights.
You're gonna
We powered through that,
experience
yeah.
things like that, and
The setup,
you
the
got
tent
through
setup
it, so
is very nice,
Yeah.
and
It was.
I think we have a very good location
Mm-hmm.
where you ended up, and so
Yeah.
since you've been a repeat
Mhm.
vendor, they've been putting you in the same spot, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. It was really, and it ended on such a high note because one of my favorite parts is just seeing people that I know or who follow my dad on Facebook, and
we had lots of friends come out.
lots of friends come out, and that honestly means the world, like especially to like last year whenever they keep coming. It's like wow, it just means a lot, those connections and stuff, but and to not necessarily the people that I know, but I think last year a lady came up to me, she's like, oh my gosh, like I remember you last year, I looked on the website and I saw you're going to be here again, like I came here to find your tent or to find your
that's
spot.
so awesome.
That is what makes it.
Yeah.
Is whenever that happens.
Yeah, and you know what? They don't even have to say anything,
Right.
and to tell you that.
Yeah.
That's so sweet.
Yeah. So I always look forward to Merry Main Street. It can be a lot of work, obviously, prepping for it, but
It's so much more
it's so much
relaxed
fun.
now
Yes.
that we know what to do and
yes.
how to load in, load out, and we have baselines for how much
Yes.
product. Although we did get to eat pretty well after.
Yeah. Last year was a little bit slower overall, like
Yeah.
attendance wise, but
It's a good event.
it is a very good event. So I'll be doing it this year as well.
So I know you've kind of talked a little bit on future plans with like the other farmers markets and stuff that you want to do, and teaming up with maybe some other businesses. Is there anything else? Any maybe purchases that you're looking at or things that you're looking to do? I know we talked about the $35 baking set earlier, and I know back in August, you and Mom went and looked at a $11,000 trailer.
Yep. That's the purchase. My goal is, obviously I don't know exactly when I'll get it, but my goal is to get it next year. And so I want to do or get just a small little trailer, and I wouldn't bake out of it.
Yeah, because you can't.
Because I can't. Yeah, so under cottage food law, everything has to be already packaged, and so it would just be a little trailer that I could set up and sell out of. I could do that at the farmer's market, and then the trailer would obviously be decorated very cute, and I could probably customize it depending on the event I'm at, and so people could rent that out for weddings or any type, like a baby shower or whatever it is, and then there would be goodies in there for people. And that's definitely like the dream right there, is to have a trailer and to have just freedom, to set up. And I think it'd be so cool to maybe find a spot And then, Saturday morning or a Friday morning, people know like, oh, that trailer's going to be there.
Mhm.
Or, oh, like, let me go look. She's going to be selling cinnamon rolls this coming day. And, people will
Yeah.
come for that and just kind of
Kinda like the
building
snow
that.
cone lady.
Yeah, yeah. And so I think that's kind of the dream of having that trailer and still operating under cottage food law because
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a bigger purchase than a $35 baking kit.
Yep.
But maybe one day.
Yeah, I think that trailer is, when we went and looked at those, that was actually kind of exciting.
And that was very surreal.
Yeah.
Kind of seeing it. And honestly, it was a very short turnaround because I thought of it not long before that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, you followed, didn't you see it on somebody else's
Mhm.
socials that they were
Yeah.
using it for renting that out
Yeah.
for
Mhm.
venues to use or whatever, and
Yeah.
it's just another
Yeah.
income stream.
Right.
So
So you helped me find that company.
Yeah.
And we went and go looked. It was very surreal.
all right, so I think we're almost done here. So why don't you tell everybody where you can? I got to say this.
Is this the website?
Yeah. So I think
I was gonna bring that
we
up.
mentioned earlier in the episode that for her birthday we bought, and I don't want to sound like a cheapskate. We bought her something for her birthday other than just this URL. Okay.
Yeah.
I said the URL was cheap. So we bought littlebitbakery.com, and it was mainly just to get her address or email address, Angela at littlebitbakery.com. So then she wanted to construct a website, and this was probably a couple years after.
Yeah.
Wanted to construct a website and went on and looked up littlebitbakery.com, and she's like, oh, dang, somebody owns that. So she bought littlebitbakery.net. And she was telling me about it one day.
And I was excited. I was like, it's a good URL.
Yeah. And you told me, yeah, like somebody already had littlebitbakery.com. And I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, you're the one that owns littlebitbakery.com. So your website right now is on littlebitbakery.net.
Yes.
But we were going to work to transition it to, since we own both of them,
Yes.
we'll either redirect it to something or get it worked out. But littlebitbakery.com will ultimately be the website,
Yes.
I think, that you're going to use. But so you got
Right.
that website.
I got that website. So I also, on that website, I have my order form. So it has all the questions that you just need to answer, pricing, menu, all that jazz. And then I also have Facebook. So that's Little Bit Cakes. And people DM me on Facebook all the time. That's perfectly fine. I have an Instagram, Little Bit Cakes as well. And then I actually just created a TikTok. I've not posted, but it's little.bit.bakery.
Okay.
And then I actually just created a YouTube. Again, haven't posted anything.
Yeah.
But that's a goal, is just to get all of the social medias going.
And what's that? How do they get to that?
Oh, that is Little Bit Bakery on YouTube.
YouTube.com/
Yeah,
something
I
like that.
believe. Yeah. And then email Angela at littlebitbakery.com. People email me stuff or like for orders or whatever it is.
And you know what? If you're a scammer,
Yeah, go away.
quit reaching out.
So done with you.
Yeah, we've kind of figured out how to identify you. You get a lot of those.
Yeah, get a life.
All right, everyone. Well, that is the story of Little Bit Bakery and how it came to be. Hope you've enjoyed that story. It was nice reminiscing about that and hearing about that. So you've heard Angela's contact information and socials. Go out there and follow and subscribe if you don't mind. Mm-hmm. And we would very much appreciate that. And so would she. And that's a wrap for this one. And we will catch you guys on the next episode. Thanks for listening.